Good evening and welcome to the Invictus Racing League, and what we have in store for you is the finale of Tier 2. It's come down to the final race of the season, as we always like to see in these championships, and it's going to be a phenomenal race. We have two drivers in the running for the drivers, two teams in the running for the constructors, and each of the drivers drive for one of the teams. The two drivers we're going to be focusing on tonight is Hulkenberger and Iron. They are separated by just 3 points coming into tonight. 110 plays 107. And in the constructors, it is Alpine and Mercedes, who are separated by just 7 points, which sounds like a lot, but in constructors' terms, it's nowhere near. And we have, as always, well, for pretty much since 2010, the finale of the season is held at Abu Dhabi. And it's obviously a very recent layout of the circuit, which does promote a little bit of overtaking every now and again. But my name is JPH, and I'm going to take you along for this ride of the finale. And join me, as always, and has been the case this season in Tier 2, ARL is alongside me. Good evening, ARL. How are you?
Yeah, no, I'm all good here, Jordan. How are you doing? And yeah, I'm absolutely thrilled for one final time this season in Tier 2. We get to go into the finale with a championship that still is on our hands and is still to play for both the constructors and the drivers. So it's incredible stuff to have this fight all the way from round one up until this point. So yeah, no, it's one final time to go, and yeah, it's all to play for.
Yeah, absolutely. As we say, it's obviously 3 points between the two drivers, which does effectively mean that Ira, if he was to win and take fastest lap, Ira's in the McLaren, who's not here tonight. If Iron takes the win and fastest lap, he will be champion. That is ultimately his goal tonight. If he does that, there's no way that Hulkenberger can beat him.
Yeah, no, 100%. Both drivers are going to be thinking just to outscore the points, because only 3 points separate them into this race, which is incredible. Of course, for the constructor standings, I believe 7 points between the Mercedes and the Alpine. The Alpine has the advantage going into tonight. So yeah, no, this is going to be more about finishing ahead of their rival. But yeah, no, we'll get going for one final qualifying session, and I think the first one on track, the man who wants to try and claim this championship lead back, is Iron.
Yeah, Iron, first man on the circuit. And he'll be looking, I think for Iron now, he's gone out first. He's going to look to just set the banker lap in first. Get a time on the board and then put the pressure on Hulkenberger to make sure that Hulkenberger gets a lap in. Because obviously if Iron gets a lap in, it might not be the fastest one, but then Hulkenberger's got to make sure that he gets a clean lap in at least once.
Oh yeah, 100%. He's going out early, try and get a clean track, set the benchmark early on, and hope that puts some pressure on the Alpine side of things. And yeah, basically, he wants to be the one to essentially make Hulkenberger have to respond here. But the Alpines are coming out of the pit garage, and Iron just coming up into Sector 3 here. Tyre temps will be fairly alright here, normally during the game, because of course in the Middle East, tyres are going to be struggling a little bit, but fairly similar conditions as usual to Bahrain and Saudi. But we'll begin to go on a lap with Iron.
Yeah, it's your home track, ARL, so take us for a ride.
Of course. Right, coming up into turn 1 here. Some of the control tower on the right hand side, but don't touch too much of that curb now. Up the hill you go, through into 2, up through into 3, the highest part of the track. Then you ride down all the way into turn 5, an amazing overtaking opportunity we've seen here in the past, as he throws the car in. Try to not turn in too early, because that will compromise your exit for Iron. And now a short dash to the DRS detection point, first DRS detection point of the track. He's staying as close as he can to the right hand side. Now brake, don't brake too late though, because that will compromise your entry. Into 6, now go into 7, and watch the little curb on the right hand side. You don't want to be taking that, otherwise that'll completely unsettle the car. Now the second DRS detection point open, and try and cut as much as you can of the track. Stick to the left and then have to swoosh to the right for turn 9. Long left-hander, somewhat a little bit banked, but there is a little bump on the left hand side of that corner, so be careful there. Coming through 10 into 11, easy to lock the front right, but he does that nicely through into 13, keep it turned in for 14, get the traction, watch out, you can invalidate there on the exit at 14, now into 15, practically flat out with this new updated circuit layout, through into the final corner, get the power deployed as much as you can without invalidating, and it's the first lap time of the session at 24.1 for Iron.
It's a good start for Iron, and Mikey 1.6 off on his first attempts. He's even a little bit further back again. Clips Kiri jumps in the mix with the 24.5. We have Nitrogash, who is reserving tonight in the Kick Sauber. He's going to put in a 24.6. But the main man that we're going to look out for is Hulkenberger. He's on his lap at the moment. The question is, what is he going to put on for this first lap? J. Ray Bay, his teammate, giving him a solid run there, a 23.955. What can Hulkenberger do out of the final corner over the crest? Cross the line is a 24.04, so he slots in between his teammate and Iron.
That's important. That's important for the Alpines, and don't forget, J. Ray Bay, he's obviously going to be in the mix as well for not only the constructors, but maybe some strategic helping options for Hulkenberger, splitting the strategy, or just trying to unsettle the likes of Iron. But at the moment, it's advantage Alpine. But I am seeing Ginger Tiger up in P4 at the moment. He set his lap time on the mediums, and to be honest, that's not a bad time on those set of medium tyres.
There's no another road I'm looking out for is Jack TM53 Synopsis. We know how much pace he's got. He's not had much luck this season, but he'll be another one to watch out for, especially in this championship fight, because I mean, this is probably the most critical thing for the likes of Iron and Hulkenberger. If you have the likes of Jack, Ginger Tiger, Nitrogash, so we know J. Ray Bay is going to help, so it's the Cat's going to help Iron, but like Clips, Kiri as well, they don't care about the championship at this point because they're not in it. They just want to finish the season with a win. So for Hulkenberg and Iron, they're going to have to be very, very tactical as to how hard they fight people, because they're going to be fighting a lot of people that have nothing to lose.
Yeah, and of course they're in their own championship fight for the mid-fuel. Yeah, so they don't have to get out of the way, of course. If they want this win, they can do what they must be done for tonight. But yeah, I'm sure though the Alpines and Mercedes are going to be right on top of things, as they have been all season, Jordan. I think it's been pretty consistent so far. But I think we have at the moment Daryl, who's on a lap. He's in sector 3, and he'll try and deploy the power. He goes a little bit offline there, does Daryl. Now goes through the final 2 corners. A little bit of hesitation on the turn-in for him, so maybe the front end not biting as much as he power slides through the final corner. It's a 26.8, so I don't think the power slide there would have helped him too much, but that's the beauty of things. These are the first laps, so they have time to go back in and get more familiar with the track. As we have a yellow flag, I think that's just driver going slowly. It is.
Yeah, no, I know that for Daryl, but as we say, lots of time left on the clock. And so Spud on his next lap time. Just coming up towards turn number 5 in the Aston Martin. He's got a Williams of Jack TM53 Synopsis behind him. Might just get a slight distant toe off the back of that Aston, which would be very helpful for the Williams. But I know you're mentioning about obviously the Mercedes. Obviously, possibly a different story if Jolyon Amanu didn't have to, unfortunately, sort of abandon halfway through the season. Obviously, personal reasons in that, and to be fair, I don't blame him for those personal choices. Not one bit at all. But obviously, I think the Mercedes sort of fortunes may have been slightly different, as possibly the driver's title.
Yeah, no, Jolyon Amanu obviously leaving halfway through. Fully respect, of course, but no, it's not helped. Oh, sorry, just going on board with Sir Spud, kind of had Jack right on the rear end. Doesn't have to get out of the way, of course. These are qualifying laps, but yeah, no, it's the cat obviously taking Jolyon Amanu's place midway through, and he's just not found his feeling out here this season. But he has joined midway through as Jack puts it up to P8 on a 25.1. But yeah, it's the cat hasn't just found his feet yet, so he'll be hoping to try and hit the ground running for the next season if he does stay with us, which I'm sure he probably will. But yeah, at the moment the Alpines have just had the upper hand ever since Australia, I think.
Yeah, I think it's one thing to know as well. For it's the cat, it's some pretty big shoes to fill that of Juliana Manus. It's almost like Kimi Antonelli when he took over Hamilton's seat. Very very big seat to fill that one. Obviously, one driver who's not with us tonight, unfortunately, is Trist, which is a bit of a shame because I think Trist has been getting better as the season's gone on. Obviously, unfortunately, not here tonight. I have to say, sort of this season, spirit of the season has to go to him because he's turned up pretty much every week, even though he's not been sort of on the pace of sort of anyone in the field, not really. But he was getting closer and closer, and it was good to see him just constantly just turning up, turning more laps in, and getting that practice and getting that confidence.
Yeah, no, 100%. That's the only way you will improve. There's no shortcut to success, and you've just got to be in it to try and ramp up. But no, he's been here throughout the season, so it's been great to have. Unfortunately, not here tonight. Someone else who's not here tonight is the Wolf. Unfortunately, he had a disaster last week out. He was out of the championship hunt, so unfortunately, I think that's not helped. Yeah. He'll want to definitely try and kick things started on the next season, I'm sure. But I did want to go back, Jordan, to Ginger Tiger. His lap was 2.5 tenths off provisional pole at the moment, but he's on the medium. He's now on the soft, so keep an eye out. And he's in fact currently just over 2 tenths up on this lap before the Sector 3. So provisionally, he's a man with some good pace at the moment.
Yeah, we know how quick Ginger Tiger is. He is a quick driver in IRL. Been around IRL quite a long time as he comes through the penultimate corner. I would say though, possibly this is one of those circuits where the softs doesn't have, as he does go quickest, gets half a second on his time. I don't know whether how much more you get out of the soft tyre around here because obviously there's not quite as many sort of traction zones. A lot of fast corners around it, but that final sector, very much traction worthy, and I think Ginger finding about 3 tenths in that final sector alone.
Yeah, Sector 3 is of course they've opened it up, widened it up ever since 2021, but you still need some good amount of grip, just mechanical grip from the car to try and flow your way through the corners. 13 and 14, it's somewhat like a double apex corner. It's obviously 2 separate corners. You do have to have a slight off-put as you exit 13 and go into 14. So you do need the grip to stick with you on the front end. But he's definitely shown that the softs do have a lot more pace than the medium. But that medium run initially was a very strong from him.
So as J. Ray Bay comes through the final corner, what can he do? He can't take back. He doesn't actually go any faster. 0.003 of a second down. Meanwhile, Hulkenberger 3 tenths to the good on his fastest lap. What can he achieve over the crest in the final corner? Across the line, it is a 23.519. It is provisional pole position for the Alpine.
Right, game on. Game on at 6 minutes.
Iron in the pits. I wonder if Iron is playing something of a strategy here.
I was going to say he's not come out for his second run yet, and he started the very first run. He was the first man to set a lap time, in fact.
I wonder if he's only going to do 2 runs here, save a set of softs in case they're required, because obviously Abu Dhabi, not a track that is unusual to have a safety car. It's not an unusual thing to see a safety car in this around this circuit. Obviously the walls are very very close in certain aspects, so I wonder if he's going to save a set of softs just in case he needs them for a late safety car.
Yeah, you never know. Anything can happen. Anything can happen. We've seen it all season round, but at the moment, I think someone who is on a lap trying to make better is It's the Cat. He really wants to get back up there, up to the front of the field to try and help whatever he can with Iron for this, not only constructors but potentially drivers. And he is up at the moment by just under 2 tenths. But one thing is clear, he doesn't have much ERS for the remainder of this lap, so he's going to have to try and deal with whatever pace he's got, and he's actually lost a bit of time through there. So maybe the lack of ERS just not helping him, but he's got a bit of time though to find in this last sector. This is a really critical part. You need that car to respond to the way you like it, because you can win and lose so much time around here just over 1 lap.
Yeah, and Sector 3, sort of, in my opinion, a sector where you really do want the battery available to you, just putting it coming out of those corners, getting the speed up very quickly. Cross line comes, it's the cat. He does go 8/10 quicker though on his lap, and he puts himself into 6th place, which obviously isn't at the front, but it's in a very handy position to cause a little bit of concern for the Alpine team.
Absolutely. What it does allow is potentially strategy options in the race, going on a split strategy, going longer maybe, trying to maybe impact the Alpines in any way, shape or form, but for certain, him being a little bit closer will definitely play on the minds of the Alpines. But he lost a bit of time in that sector too, so I wouldn't be surprised if there's more time to find from him as Bruce goes into the top 10 now with a 24.9. So
yeah, the award for most improved time goes to Bruce. There he sets his time 17.6 seconds quicker than his previous. Obviously, he didn't have a very good previous lap, but the award for the most improved time goes to him for the night.
Yeah, well, there you go. He's won something, so there you go. That's your award. But no, I'm sure, hopefully, he's going to want to try and get more into the top 10. But the two Saubers looking good, though. Top 10 for now. But this is the point now where a lot of drivers are going to be into the pits, as we can currently see. And this is it, the final run, really. The final quali runs of the season, Jordan.
Absolutely. Just looking at the chat, welcome to Paul Race Tech, Spud, Bjorn, Tristan, Mikey, and Iron. Just having a look through. Good evening to everyone. I hope you're all well. Tristan sending his best wishes for the drivers, and both Tristan and Iron thanking us for the commentary and saying this has been amazing, which is very good to hear from our perspective, considering we chat a load of nonsense half the night. But Jack just coming through the last couple of corners to start his final. Well, I say final, but he might get a couple of attempts here if he's got enough fuel on board.
Yeah, no, you don't know until we get towards the later stages. But through to turn 1 he goes. A little bit of curb on entry. You don't want to take too much because it can unsettle the car, but he's gone away with it. So down the hill he goes. Into turn 5, you've got a bit of time to decide when you pick your braking point, but he brakes just after the 50-meter board, goes a little bit deep, a little bit of the front locking. You could just hear the screeching from that front left, but it's okay at the moment. DRS enabled now, and the two main long straights as he'll head into 6. Braking point very critical. Try not to brake too deep, that'll impact you through 7. A little bit of the curb he touches. He doesn't ride the outside curve too much, but now second DRS enabled, and he's got some time to think. When does he pick his braking point? Coming up into turn 9, takes a little bit of the outside curve and throws the car in. Now get on the power as much as you can. Trust that the back end will stick with you, and it does at the moment. Now through into the final sector, he goes into 12, takes a bit of the inside curve. Now throw it across now onto 13. Then on to 14. Watch the track limits here. Very easily done to invalidate, but he keeps it nice and clean. Through into 15, absolutely flat out. And through the final corner he goes. Takes a little bit of curb on the outside. Now takes a bit more here, but that's absolutely fine. Traction to the floor, and he puts it into P9 with a 24.6.
And that is the last lap Jack will get. He won't get enough. There isn't quite enough time to go again. Nitrogash on a lap at the moment, coming out of turn 5. He was a couple of tenths down after sector 1. We've also got Madman just up ahead of him. Also on a lap in the Haas, he was a quarter of a second up on his time after the first sector, which is quite impressive because there isn't a lot that makes up that first sector anymore.
Yeah, you've only got turn 1 really, and then you just ride the curve through 2 and 3, and then it's really turn 5, the braking point. That pretty much is your first sector, but he's up at the moment as he comes through into sector 3. Don't lock that inside tire a little bit, but that's going to be fine. Gets away with it. Same thing goes here. Try and watch out for track limits. Get the power to the metal. And also Spud retires, so he doesn't have anything left for him. Into the final corner. Deploy as much of the throttle as you can just to get the best possible traction, and he does get it into the top 10 at 24.8. So top 10 is his for now as it stands.
Nitrogash goes 7th quickest with a 24.3 on his final attempt of the session. We have, I think that's Clips Kiri, is it? No, it's Ginger Tiger, who's on a run through the final sector in the Red Bull. Obviously not scoring 18 points, but can score driver's points, and he can interfere with this championship should he want to.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, but where are the championship contenders at the moment? Who is looking strong? Ginger Tiger's going to be the next across the line. He does go provisional pole at 23.4. So he slots that Red Bull into P1. But what about Hulkenberger and Iron? J-Ray Bay can't improve. He's staying in third. What about Iron? This is his chance to try and snatch provisional pole. It's not enough.
It's a second row start at the moment for Iron. Where's Hulkenberger? Hulkenberger's invalidated his lap. He's not going to get another one. He's going to be on the front row, but it's going to be second for the Alpine. And he's going to have Iron pretty much, even though it's not the same row, pretty much alongside him for the start of this Grand Prix. There's Steven now coming through the third sector in the Kick Sauber. Question is, what can he get any further up the order from 11th? Up over the crest to the line. It is 8th place for the Kick Sauber. There's a good finish to the lap for him. J&B is going to come in the pits. Nitro Gas coming in the pits. I think Madman's on it in lap as well. So it is Ginger Tiger who takes the final pole position of the Tier 2 season.
Yeah, so game on, game on. You said they don't have to get out of the way, of course, these reserves. They are fighting for their own driver's points. They won't score for the team, but that is our final qualifying session wrapped and done. So we have one final session to come, and that is the race, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I would say it's looking like a very dry race as well as this qualifying, according to my weather station on the my race control app. So we have a typical Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. It's not like career. This isn't like career mode where it suddenly starts raining for no reason.
Wait, I'm a bit disappointed, Jordan. You could have asked me. I could have told you the weather forecast for the next year. But yeah, no, it's yeah. If this was career mode, I think you could even throw potential chance of snow if that option was available. But yeah, Ginger Tiger proving his strength here tonight. He lines up in P1. He's got Hulkenberger beside him on the front row. Iron and J-Ray Base share the second row with Klipskiri and It's the Cat behind. Nitro Gas and No Stevens for the Kick Sauber with JMB Cyril and Jack Synopsis in P10. Madman and Bruce followed behind with Mikey and Daryl. And finally Sir Spud on the final row.
I must admit, it's a good effort that from It's the Cat, 6th place. In the other Mercedes, it does put a bit of pressure on the Alpines to make sure they get the start right here. So yeah, that's good stuff from him to make sure that in constructors' terms there is pressure on the Alpine still.
Oh, 100%. I mean, just having that second car just in the mix can you know, for the Alpine duo, they're going to be thinking about, can they potentially use that second car, because it's the kind, like I said, he's not found his feet at the moment, but I think this is one of the best he's been up here so far. So clearly the pace is coming along for him. But yeah, no, he's definitely going to be on their minds a bit. Whether Mercedes try and split the strategy, can they try and use one car to maybe alter the other Alpine? Who knows? But one thing that won't be helping Iron is he's in an Alpine sandwich, Jordan, and that's going to be tough to deal with.
It will be. I mean, the only sort of thing I would, and the only other problem as well, he's on third, which I believe around here is on the left-hand side. Pole on the left, if I remember rightly, around Abu Dhabi, because it's the inside for turn 1.
Yes, I believe so.
It's one of those weird ones because, like other circuits, pole is not actually on the better side of the grid, because obviously by the time you get around to the pole position and the front rows, you're already to the right hand side ready for turn 1.
Yeah, no, but I will not be surprised if we see Ginger Tiger pointing that car completely to the right hand side, practically just doing what he needs to do to cover off, of course, Hulkenberger, but as well just to try and get into turn 1 cleanly and ahead of any fight. But this is going to be intriguing now, because Ginger Tiger, he's not in this championship fight, but of course he's going to want to try and win this race. So the question is, how much pace has Ginger Tiger got? If he can get along, is first a bit too much for Hulkenberger and for Iron to fight for? And then, if that's the case, how does the championship pan out? Because for second and third, the points obviously much more difficult to calculate at this stage. Of course, we'll try and calculate as we go along, but it's gonna try and shake up a few things. Him being in that mix.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, between second and third is only a 2-point gap, so Iron would have to. He would have to make sure he gets fastest lap, but then it comes down to wins at that point. And I'm just having a little look back. Hulkenberger has 2 wins. Iron has 1 win, so Iron would then pick up a second win to. Second win. So if Iron was to finish second, Hulkenberger third, Iron with the fastest lap, Hulkenberger would win on count back of wins.
Right, so that's going to be quite a challenge to work out. But like I said, anything can happen. We've seen in the last 2 laps, Jordan, this entire season, it completely changed the dynamic of the race completely.
Yeah.
So,
they've got. The other thing to note as well, obviously, if Iron wins the race with Hulkenberger second, none of them getting fastest lap, that then ties up the points. But Iron will get it because Iron would have matched the race wins of Hulkenberger, and he has 2 second place finishes to Hulkenberg's none.
Well, that's... Oh wow, this is going to be quite a spectacle. 29 laps to go, and they've got time to try and change what they want to happen. But it's all to play for. But all they're going to imagine now is try and get ahead of each other. I'm sure that, but that's the problem. Fastest lap is going to be crucial. But don't forget, like you said, Jordan, Iron saved a set of softs. So if he needs them to get fastest lap, he's got them at his disposal for sure.
Absolutely. Going to Stephen in the chat, Spud saying he doesn't want to be involved in any carnage on the first lap, so I think his tactic's probably going to be not to get off the line too quickly to give himself a chance to escape any carnage that might happen. And Bjorn saying it is quite a race night. It is. We have just 150 kilometres to decide the fate of Tier 2 in the championship. It's been a fantastic fight all season. Hulkenberger, Iron, J. Ray Bay, obviously Jolyon and Manu at the start of the season, and in the constructors between the Alpines and the Mercedes. It's been one hell of a season, and they're going to have 150 kilometres to settle their differences round Abu Dhabi. It's almost poetic.
Oh, you couldn't write this up any better, Jordan. It's it's just it's incredible. It's just been an absolute amazing watch. Not only here in the commentary box, but I'm sure for everyone watching on the stream. But this is it. This is it, Jordan. This is where it gets decided. 29 laps, like you said, 150-ish kilometers, and this is all that plays for. No mistakes from here. Any little mistake will cost you. This is the moment that you've got to have every little bit of precision at your disposal, and like I said, this is where it happens, and we will in 29 laps time find out who our champions are.
Absolutely, and not to forget, controversy in the past of F1 in title deciders, obviously Prost and Senna, and more notably in recent times, Abu Dhabi in 2021. And I was wrong. Paul was on the right-hand side, so Iron's got a better run to the first line than Hulkenberger. I thought it was the other way around. But the Alpines on the dirty side of the grid. Everyone lines up. Ginger Tiger lining up straight. He wants to be on that clean rubber. The clean side of the grid. But for one final time in season 21, 3 points separate the drivers, 7 in the constructors, 150 kilometres, 5 red lights to get it all started. We are racing for the final time, and it's here in Abu Dhabi for the finale. Who's going to have the better getaway? It looks like Hulkenberg's had a very good start, but Iron down the outside can't quite find it, but he's allowed the other Alpine of J. Ray Bay down the inside. He's run off the track. As he runs the track, he just runs a bit wide. He stays in front of J. Ray Bay, as J. Ray Bay, just behind the Mercedes as we go through turn 3-4. I think Yeah, Iron having to give that place up because he effectively took it off circuit. So Iron down to 4th, a nightmare start for the Mercedes. He tried a daring move around the outside, it didn't quite work. But otherwise, we've had a pretty clean getaway, which is, I say unusual, but it's very good to see as Clips Kiri down the inside of Nitro Cash, down into turn number 6. Obviously, oh my word, that's close to Iron. You can make this move on this lap because obviously no DRS until after the completion of this first lap. He's still alongside, a little bit of wheel rubbing, but Clips Kiri will take that place away from Nitro Cash as they head down towards turn number 9 for the first time. It looks like Jack is also trying to make a move, whilst DJ Madman, I think, was looking at someone but couldn't quite find a gap. J&B Cyril, now the target of Jack's at Williams. There's a big twitch, but Jack keeps the foot in, round the outside into the top 9 for the Williams. And they're all bunching up for a go as Daryl and Madman having a little inter-team battle there, but it is Ginger Tiger who leads through this final sector in the Red Bull. Hulkenberger is on his tail. J. Ray Bay is in 3rd. Iron is in 4th. Iron had a little bit of work to do after that initial potential move that he tried to make that didn't quite go to plan. We haven't even looked at the tyres yet. We'll have a look at that in a minute.
Yeah, no, Iron had an amazing launch, the best out of the 3. He went for it, but Ginger Tiger, he just broke a little bit later, and so did Hulkenberg as we have a yellow flag. Some of these off, I think that's it, it's the cat. It is. He's gone off at turn 1. So disaster for Mercedes, and he is off. Has he got any damage? It seems
big wing damage.
Yes. So to play for this constructors fight, that's going to hurt massively into this race. We're only on lap 2, of course, but that's not going to be good for what he wants. But back at the front of the field, Iron now has DRS, but so does J. Ray Bay and Hulkenberger from Ginger Tiger. So this is where it starts to get difficult as Hulkenberger, he's closing in on Ginger Tiger at this moment. He's getting closer. Is it enough? He's going to go around the outside for the lead of the race. Is it enough from the Alpine? He's going to take the longer line, but does he have the traction to do so? Yes, he does. He takes the lead of the race on lap 2 here, and that is critical.
It is. I always find with turn 9 that it's actually better to go round the outside than the inside, because obviously you can't really get on the power on the inside compared to the outside. It's there's another corner like it, Zandvoort turn 1, same principle as that I feel, because it's slightly banked and you can just use the outside to bring the throttle in very early. So a good move there from Hulkenberger, using the track to his advantage. Now this is going to have to prompt Iron into a very serious consideration of getting onto the back of J. Ray Bay and dispatching of him very quickly. He's got to go after Hulkenberger, and he has to do it now, because whilst we say safety cars are sort of a common trait of Abu Dhabi, it's never a guarantee.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But the question is, can he? Because J. Ray Bay, well, I think at the moment he's just outside the second. Yes, he does. So he does have a DRS. So the question is, can he get past? In fact, but he's having a little bit of a look on the inside. Iron gaining and gaining. Is it enough? But he has to think of this championship battle all the way to the end. But in fact, J. Ray Bay locks up and goes very deep. Now that'll put him offline. Now, can Iron get the traction? Can he get the speed? He's got much more traction than J. Ray Bay. Of course, being on the actual racing line, that's going to hurt J. Ray Bay. What can J. Ray Bay do? Is it going to be enough? He's going to stick to the inside, but Iron has to stay behind through into 9, and it's not enough for him. But this is going to be a bit of an issue. If Hulkenberger gets out of that 1 second gap from Ginger Tiger and start to cruise out, and J. Ray Bay holds the Mercedes back, this is going to be important. But he needs to start making the moves now for Iron, because he's got Clips Kiri and in fact a whole lot of cars right behind on this train. Yeah,
just note on tyres. Oh, Stephen, Jack and Sir Spud starting on the hard compound tyres for this race. You just kind of feel with Iron, he just needs to be a little bit braver, especially around turn 9. We saw Hulkenberger go down the outside. Granted, he was a lot further alongside Ginger on the entry, but you just feel that Iron maybe just needs to be a little bit more brave on the brakes into certain corners like that one. But I wonder if that confidence kind of just faded a little bit after the turn 1 attempt at the start.
Yeah, but I think that's more because he knows there's many more laps to go in this race. He can't afford to risk anything here. But importantly, J. Ray Bay does not have DRS, so he's outside that 1 second gap at the detection point. J. Ray Bay, though, holds off from the Mercedes behind, but now he will get the other detection point, so J. Ray Bay will be right back in the DRS range. So can Iron get enough of a drive out of the corner I don't think he does have enough. No, he doesn't. So this is an issue for Iron because he's going to be in the DRS train. Unless Jerry Bay falls back in enough, then Iron's going to have a real struggle to get past.
I get the feeling with J. Ray Bay, if he gets past Ginger Tiger, he's going to play a very big park the bus game and let Hulkenberg get up the road. You just get, I don't know why, I just get that feeling that that's going to be the team game here, is for J. Ray Bay, but to basically sort of just try and levy everyone back and give Hulkenberg almost freedom of strategy. Because right now with Hulkenberger, if one of these guys pits slightly early, he won't have a choice but to react to it.
Yeah, no, 100%. But the question is, maybe is the team game already now? Stay behind Ginger Tiger and pick up the DRS, because the moment J. Ray Bay gets ahead of Ginger, if he's too far away from his teammate, he won't have any defensive mechanism down the straight from Iron. So maybe sitting like this might actually be beneficial for the Alpine and more importantly for Hulkenberger. But Ginger Tiger's not exactly dropped off this 1 second gap here. He's still within DRS range, and in fact J. Bay's actually a lot closer to Ginger Tiger this time round. So what's going to happen here? But Ginger Tiger, he's got enough to defend into turn number 6. But yeah, this is going to get, if it stays like this could be a whole DRS train for many laps, and this will really come down to strategy.
Burdo is so Spud down the inside of Darrell at the 6-7 chicane. Spud completing that move, and although Sir Spud, I think he just got a little bit twitchy on the way out. It's going to allow Darrell a potential way back in, but can't quite find the pace or the grip. So Stephen gets past Clips Kiri, and Mikey gets past the Haas into turn 9, taking advantage of the situation there for the Ferrari.
Yeah, no, it's yeah, Mikey picking up Darrell, and Spud actually had a bit of contact at the 7 and 8, but that's why. Oh, Clips Kiri, in fact, the first driver to pick up a penalty in this grand finale. So that's going to go all the way to the end of this race for him. That's another thing we haven't really talked about, Jordan. Track limits, it's so easily done. And that's going to really, in a race like this can make or break not only your race win or your position, but your championship. So both drivers, I'm sure, are going to be really keeping an eye on not invalidating any laps and not picking up too many warnings to a point that it becomes a penalty. Yeah,
I mean, it's easy to do, but not quite as easy as last week. I don't think we're going to quite see the same sort of levels as we did at Canada. As Hulkenberger leads the field into 6 and 7 for the 6th time of 29. This race going by fairly quickly at the moment, considering obviously everyone's sort of in a line of DRS trains as J. Ray Bay close to Ginger Tiger once again. I just feel J. Ray Bay, I mean, yes, he's got the DRS to Ginger, but obviously right now Hulkenberger still has that threat of Ginger Tiger behind, even though he's kept him behind for a number of laps. We do know Ginger Tiger's a bit of a wily old fox. He does tend to sort of have a bit of a strategy on his mind as Jack gets past Clips Kiri. I think that's into turn 12. So an unusual overtaking spot, but yeah, if the door's open, the door's open.
Yeah, no, that was unusual, but Clips Kiri has been kind of falling back here since the start. He's just dropped a few places, and that penalty not going to hurt. I'm just riding on board with him. That rear end is not comfortable. It is sliding all over the place on just entry and pure traction. So maybe those rears are not happy on the V car, but we go for another lap round. You feel that Hulkenberg has got just enough pace to keep Ginger Tiger behind, but he just can't pull out that 1 second gap that helps Ginger Tiger open the rear wing and somewhat defend against Hulkenberger's teammate, J. Ray Bay. Actually saying that, J. Ray Bay's a lot closer this time round, but not enough to make it way. Ooh, Hulkenberg in fact gone a little bit deep through 6 there, so that's going to compromise his exit. That's a bit closer than it's been for a while between Ginger and Hulkenberger, but again, Hulkenberger has the means to defend from Ginger, but does Ginger have the means to defend from J. Ray Bay? J. Ray Bay having a little bit of a look on that Red Bull, and that's not enough for him. But Iron is still just a little bit behind this little train of cars. So does Iron have enough to fight with? You feel like he needs to, if he wants to try and win this championship, he needs to try and get on a bit more. But you can just see how J. Ray Bay is all over the rear of that Red Bull.
Down into the final corner, but you can see Ginger Tiger closes up that last few corners. The Red Bull does close back up to the Alpine. Worth noting at the moment as well, Hulkenberger has fastest lap of the race right now. As it stands, he'll win the championship by 11 points.
And 2 people into the pits, 3 in fact, as Jack picks up a penalty. That's fairly early on.
Always seen the start of 2 stop races. Getting to the wharf as well. Commentator has been great all season. Thank you very much for your kind comments. He was due to race tonight but couldn't connect to the online, so he's going to have to watch this one. Boris texting P2, not the place to be as we saw yesterday. And it's apparently 2 days in a row that a Red Bull's been on pole position and lost the lead by the end of the first lap. Or by lap 2. As everyone at the front now bunches up, less than a second covering the top 3.
Yeah, so this is going to be the problem now. I think this is really going to come down to strategy at the moment, because they're just staying in a train at the moment, no matter how much they're closing up to each other. The advantage that Alpine have, though, in this point is they've got 2 cars in this top 4. They have the flexibility, because they don't want to double stack, of course, because they can't afford to. They're too close. So what they can do is they can try box 1 earlier and get that undercut. So that's definitely an option. Actually, as I said, that Hulkenberg dives into the pit. So
Iron follows him.
That I think that's actually a good idea from Myron, because he was stuck behind J-Ray Bay. If he gets a good enough of an outlap, his main man he needs to follow here. He needs to respond to what Hulkenberg is doing at the moment, and he's doing that absolutely spot on. And they both go to the hard tyres, but what he wants more importantly as well at this stage is to clear J-Ray Bay and potentially even Ginger Tiger by the time they make their first pit stop.
Yeah, I think it's critical here for Iron that he makes sure that he gets within a second of Hulkenberger, though, to ensure he's got DRS, because Hulkenberger's come out right behind Madman. He's going to get DRS coming into this back straight. I don't know if Iron was close enough, as Madman sort of just leaves the door, but he's not interested in getting involved in this fight by the looks of it. And Hulkenberger did pick up DRS, but so did Iron, so that is crucial for the Mercedes, the fact that he's picked up this dose of DRS, because now he's going to have the advantage into turn 9.
I don't know what happened, but I think Iron definitely had a much better pit stop, because the gap would have been around 1.5 seconds. He's right on the tail of Hulkenberg.
And here he comes, closing on the Alpine. Has he got enough? No is the answer as we head into turn 9.
He's really closed up on the Alpine, so he's maybe made a better use of that pit stop, maybe taking more risk into the pit entry, but whatever he's done, it's definitely brought him much closer to his championship rival than it has done so far in this race. Where does J-Ray Bay and Ginger Tiger stand? They stayed out, so they're committing to going longer in this first stint, but Iron, he's critically in that 1 second gap.
Absolutely, and just going to change that to the leader. So Hulkenberg 17.2 away from the lead of this race now. Iron 17.9. I also pit stop round here about sort of 18-19 seconds. It's not a slow pit stop round here, because you go underneath turn 1 in the pit lane, so and you do get a slightly better run out onto the circuit compared to where you do come from the track.
Yeah, you do, but turn 1's very tight, so you do lose quite a bit of time. I say turn 1 as if the pit lane turn 1. So you do lose a bit of time, but then it does project you out of 2 and 3. So it's a bit of you lose some, you gain some, really. But it's not too long, so 2 stoppers are definitely still on the cards here. But obviously with Hulkenberg and Iron stopping very early, and in fact here comes Iron.
Looks to the outside. Is he going to brave it? No, he's not. Just doesn't seem to have quite that last little bit does Iron into turn 9. He's going to have to think of something else. Possibly through something like sector 3, or maybe even sort of towards the start finish line, because you don't want to do it too close to that DRS zone. As Ginger Tiger now pits from 2nd place, allows Jack and the 2 Kick Saubers through into 2nd and 3rd and 4th. But this is going to be interesting. How much time will Ginger Tiger lose in the pits? I think Hulkenberg and Iron coming down the main straight already. He's going to lose out big time here.
Yeah, but that's proof that undercut is extremely powerful. That's good knowledge for the second pit stop by pitting 1 lap earlier. Now bear in mind Ginger stayed out for 2, but look at the gap it's made between them. So that's important information for both drivers here. So they'll definitely use that to their disposal. Now this is important. Has Hulkenberg actually picked up DRS from Sir Spud? He has. So Sir Spud not in this championship fight, of course, but he's still in the fight for this race. But Hulkenberg, he's going to have to look in his rear view mirrors because Iron's coming. And in fact, Iron did kind of close up despite being in a bit of a DRS train. So maybe a bit more better straight line speed than the Alpine. But here comes Hulkenberg on Sir Spud. He's going to surely make this easily done. The question is, what about Iron? Iron's too far back. So, in fact, actually he isn't. He does get it through. I think that's more Sir Spud knowing that this is not his fight and getting out of the way. But no, that's good to see. But now they come on the back of JMB Surreal through this third sector. Those mediums are going to be struggling. As you can see, JMB goes off. Is this going to impact Hulkenberg? Hulkenberg is going to look to the inside. And a little bit of a twitch on the rear. And he's still not through in the head. And that's going to really put the Mercedes right on the rear of that Alpine. This is going to hurt massively Hulkenberg as J-Ray Bay comes into the pit stop. But this is important for Hulkenberg. Can he take the risk? He surely can't, and again has to stay behind the Red Bull JMB Surreal. He will probably get a DRS helping hand out of 5, but this is going to really close up Iron.
Absolutely, this has helped Iron an absolute treat. Red Bull helping Mercedes. When was the last time you heard that? Although JMB just go very wide through turn 5, and that's going to give Hulkenberg the place. Iron is going to have to get past this Red Bull very quickly, and he will do down towards turn 6. If you can get back onto the racing line here, that'll be even better, because now once again he's able to threaten Hulkenberg down towards turn 9 with the idea of DRS. But Hulkenberg's traction coming out of 7 is unbelievable.
He's got good traction, but is it enough? Because here comes Iron. Is it enough for Iron though? No, it's not. Iron is really playing this quite passive here. He doesn't want to make too many risks this early on. I say early on, we're nearly even like halfway distance. But there's 29 laps in this race. They've only completed 12. There's still plenty laps to go. So it's just about when the right time comes to Iron. But he's got to be careful because the race can go in a blink of an eye as O'Stephen comes into the pit stop. But going back to the pit stops between Jerry Bay, look where Jerry Bay's come out. He's come out really far off Iron, but he will have a much better tyre compound as O'Stephen is into pit, so he drops places. But,
it was a bit early that for O'Stephen, only 12 laps on a hard tyre.
And he goes to a medium, so that's surely...
That's a definite two-stop, I think, there, yeah. But worth noting for J-Ray Bay, obviously he stayed out for a lap longer than Ginger. He did lose a little bit of time, because I think he did have about a second just over to Ginger Tiger when Ginger pitted. So I think Ginger Tiger halved that gap, but it wasn't the same sort of effect as what Hulkenberg and Iron had. And I do wonder if that's down to DRS, because obviously Ginger Tiger didn't really have any DRS with anyone when he came out of the pit. And it's also worth noting Clips Kiri is in front of both of them.
Yeah, the traffic's going to be important here, but this is another opportunity now for Iron. He's got a good enough exit, but is it enough again? No, it's not. So Iron he's struggling to get enough drive. I think that's more for the fact that Hulkenberg is getting an incredible drive out of 8 to try and somewhat slingshot him to be protected from any threat going into 9.
I do wonder as well how much ERS. Oh, we've got a yellow flag. That's JMB Surreal. He's gone round at the exit of turn 9. Not a corner that's unusual to have a bit of a spin, especially with the bump on it. As O'Stephen gets right on the back of him. Sure, O'Stephen won't be too happy, but everything was in order there from JMB. He's just obviously going a little bit slower. As Nitrogash comes into the pits, relinquishes Hulkenberg and Iron into the top 3. And Hulkenberg is flirting with getting away with DRS from Iron.
Yeah, when did that happen? Maybe a little bit of an error in the sector 3 for Iron? Who knows? But at the moment, I think he might just be clear. No, he's not, in fact. So Iron is just in that DRS range. The problem is to pull out the DRS. This is incredibly difficult because you have 2 incredibly long straights here, separated by 6 and 7. So now you just look how much gap he's brought that back down, does Iron, from the 8 of
This could
DRS.
be a chance for Iron, because that was a clip of the curve from Hulkenberger through 7. We know how that unsettles a car. But again, I just don't think Iron's got enough pace coming down towards turn 9. I do wonder if Iron's trying to play a bit of an ERS game with Hulkenberger here. Make Hulkenberger use his ERS, and then one lap when it's pretty obvious that Hulkenberger's running out, Iron can sort of pounce and then use ERS all the way through Sector 3 to try and get out of DRS for the next lap.
I think that might be the strategy going down on Hulkenberger, because you can just see how much he's recharging the battery in this third sector. Of course, Iron sees that. That's the important thing. Iron sees every little bit of game coming Hulkenberger's way, with how much ERS he's deploying, when he's on it, when he's off it. So Iron's going to know roughly. He won't know how much is left, but I think it'll be pretty clear once that battery is empty. Then it's time to strike. But again, he's really flirting with that 1 second gap, as it's just around the 9.5 tenths. But he will be ahead. He will be in the 1 second at the detection point, as I think that was Stephen who picked up just then the fastest lap, Jordan, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
That's important as well. That 1 point, very important in this fight for, well, let's be honest, provisional lead, because Jack hasn't made his pit stop. Jack's been a bit silent up ahead. He's been making some good ground on this hard tyre, so he's going well at the moment. But the main fight's between these two, and again, Hulkenberg and Iron, and I think Iron has just not got enough to get on Hulkenberger's tail enough. He isn't.
Yeah, so this is not ideal, this for Iron. The problem is he'll want to get past, but then we don't know what sort of games are being played strategically here for this race. Obviously, Jerry Bay 5 seconds behind these two. And the question is, last time around, Jerry Bay was 4 tenths quicker than these two together. So is Hulkenberger now starting to play a little bit of a game as well? If he can keep Iron behind him, let his teammate catch up to him, and feed his teammate some easy prey.
Yeah, I mean, whether this is just pure pace or these tactical decisions, we don't know what's going on. But critically, I think one thing that might be clear is I think Iron is just out the DRS range. At the detection point, it was flirting with the 1.1, and he is out of DRS range. That is critical. That is important, and this could be a massive change for the way the end of this race goes. But I'm sure Iron's going to try and deploy as much battery now to try and get back in the range before turn 9. And he's just again hovering around the 8.5 tenths. Will he be within? He will. So he's back into it. But each lap ticks. It seems like Iron's falling a little bit behind on terms of DRS detection points.
Absolutely, and they're slowly, well, I say slowly, they are ripping time out of Jack. Jack's last lap was a 30.3 to Hulkenberg's 28.4. Nearly 2 seconds difference. But obviously Jack looking to probably make a one-stop work here for himself. So when is Jack going to pit? Because he could get involved in this championship fight. And he's going to go around for another lap. I think these two are going to catch him up very, very soon. Jack's yet player. I mean, last week at Canada, under Stewart's inquiry, Jack had his fastest lap taken away from him for breaching track limits on his fastest lap on that final lap, which gave the point back to Hulkenberger, which, as we're seeing now, is being very crucial.
Yeah, 100%. The question is, Hulkenberg and Iron will catch surely Jack, but the question is where. If it's right before the DRS detection point, then there's no real harm. But like we saw when Hulkenberger was trying to clear JMB, if clearing it into sector 3, it's not the easiest to do, and it did get a little bit tight between Hulkenberger and JMB through there. But this is going to be important. When do they catch him? Because I don't think Jack is going to necessarily pit now, because he needs to go a little bit longer if he wants to make a one-stop work. Because of course he does have a medium run potentially to come, so he needs to make sure that those mediums go to the end as well. So this is tight, and the gap just around 1.1 between Jack and Hulkenberger. So if Jack stays out for another lap, maybe they might be alright, because when they catch him in the DRS range into 5, that could be an option. But at the moment, it might be a bit tight between the front runners as O'Stephen gets ahead of Nitro Gas just before the breaking point of 9. And up into 7th he goes.
Hulkenberger 6/10 behind Jack. I run outside of DRS as Jack comes in the pits. He will not play a part in this front two battle. So Jack coming into the pits, 17 laps done on those tyres. And have about another 12-13 to do on his mediums. But Hulkenberger, he's now 1.3 to the good. He has got out and he's starting to escape.
Right, game on, pure pace now for both drivers. Hulkenberger going to be praying that Iron doesn't get in the DRS range for 9, and Iron's going to be hoping the exact opposite, try and deploy as much as he's got left to try and get back in that 1 second. But I think even into 6 and 7, I think Iron's going to be just out of it still, and he is at the moment, and he is. So this is important. How much pace does Hulkenberger have? Because at the moment it looks like it's more than whatever Iron's got.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Hulkenberger's car, as we've seen sort of out of 7, I think that car is just hooking up on the rear. It's driving out of corners and just leaving Iron for dead, especially through this third sector where we know the traction is key. Hulkenberger just seems to be able to drive away on corner exit. You see the time at every corner in this sector. Every single corner, Hulkenberg just nicks another half a tenth, another half a tenth, another half a tenth.
Yeah, it's defined by margins. It really is, and these fine margins can really make or break your race. But at the moment, it's working for Hulkenberg, and critically as well. J-Ray Bay and Ginger Tiger are somewhat catching up to Iron. 2.6 now, the gap between them. So Iron might have to also, not only was looking to attack one Alpine, now he might have to try and defend from one Alpine coming up. But Darrell picks up a 3-second penalty. But I think Iron, he had a few opportunities maybe going into 9, but I think playing it a bit too safe, potentially on some occasions. Could he have maybe gone for it?
I think on Hulkenberger, possibly not. I mean, he never really got the traction out of 7. I mean, J-Ray Bay earlier this race, I think definitely he could have cleared him earlier. But yeah, I think on Hulkenberg just always got phenomenal traction out of 7. It just meant he just kept that gap all the way through. Worth noting, Jack came out in 7th place, and he's 2.7 behind O'Stephen. So it'll be interesting to see how Jack's race goes. He does also have a 3-second penalty to contend with. So he's going to have to make sure he puts that into his calculations.
I'm intrigued to see where Jack finishes this race, because he'll have a massive tyre offset compared to everyone else. That is, if they all remain on the one-stopper, which they probably will not. But as someone's into the pits,
Hulkenberger.
Hulkenberger, and Iron in fact follows him too. So only how many laps was that? That was
11 laps.
11 on the hard. So
another set of hards for Iron, a set of mediums for Hulkenberger. Oh, we've got a difference in strategy for the finish of this race.
That could be. I'm not surprised at the moment. Following what Hulkenberger did was just not enough for Iron. So I think he had to try something different, try something that maybe will return the favour in the last stages of this stint, because if he can get much better tyre wear on that hard, which he will immediately from now to the end, but if he's got enough pace at the end of the race to try and chase down Hulkenberger, that can maybe be a factor. But the question is, how far ahead does Hulkenberger get? As Jack gets overtaken.
Yeah.
Jack overtakes, O'Stephen into 6. Nicely done there. Now O'Stephen will likely though get the DRS, but I think Jack's got so much better traction than he does.
So here comes O'Stephen. He is closing in on that Williams. Which way does he go? He looks to the outside, drafts alongside, but can't find the confidence or the grip around the outside just to lunge it around there. Possibly also knows that is maybe not a wise one to fight right now with Jack's fresher tyres, and I think O'Stephen, it won't be long before he decides to come into the pit. But what that does mean, if Hulkenberg and Iron have just come in, Jack's only done 2 extra laps on those mediums. Jack's in this race.
That's a tough tough one because, yeah, he's only had 2 extra laps.
And he's now
sets
taken
the new
fastest lap.
26.4 for Jack. So, absolutely, this could get to be a nail-biter of a finish because Jack is not out of this, but one thing he will have to be keeping aware is how that tyre wears towards the end of the stint because he will have 2 laps all the time, so he's going to want to make sure that they go the distance as O'Stephen into the pits and he comes out on a fresh set of mediums. But what about J-Ray Bay and Ginger? Do they try and maybe... They're almost certain to be quite far off Hulkenberg and Iron, but do they try and stay out?
I mean, Paul Racetech was saying that apparently J-Ray Bay, he could attempt a one-stop here. Question is, it's a long way to go, and you just get that feeling that the fresh rubber of Hulkenberg, Iron, even Jack at this stage, might be enough to sort of close in. I mean, Jack's now all over the back of Nitrogash, so he'll be looking to clear the Sauber pretty quickly to give himself open air and the ability to try and go after the top 2 come near the end of this race. I mean, there's a lot of time he's going to have to try and find, but as we know, as tyres start to reach their limits on this game, they do drop off pretty quickly.
Yeah, no, absolutely, but this is going to be a bit different for Hulkenberger when they catch Jack, because when they caught him up last time round, well, in fact, they didn't really catch him enough for Jack to be a bit of a hindrance, but he had much older tyres. Now he somewhat has a bit of fresher tyres as Hulkenberg is right on the back of Jack, but Jack's not necessarily going to get out of the way here because this is for position and this is for position of the race. So he's doing what he needs to do to try and help him in the Williams camp move up in position as Sir Spud makes a pit stop and DJ Madman, as I say, gets a 3-second penalty. And here comes Jack. I'm assuming this move's going to be done and dusted quite early on with the help of DRS. But Nitrogash giving it a little bit of fight, but actually here comes Hulkenberger. Has to stay back. Door gets shut, but they're going to go side by side with Nitrogash and Hulkenberger. Hulkenberg has to stay put. He can't get through in the head, and that's going to impact him a bit, but you imagine he'll get a good tow with the DRS, and he'll clear Nitrogash. What about Jack, though? Can he clear Jack? He's going to go around the outside, and that should be done and dusted, but it's not. Jack has to try and fight back, and he does keep the positions. So, Jack stays ahead of Hulkenberger, and it is truly game on. The question is, where is Iron in this? Iron's a few seconds back. I was keeping an eye out, though, Jordan. Iron's losing a little bit of time on this hard compound, but not that much. So, in these stages where the mediums will be much more fired up than the hards, he's not doing a bad job, is Iron, on those hard tyres.
Absolutely not, as Jack comes over the crest in 3rd place. And I remember, and this is the other critical thing with the drivers, and it's why sometimes the drivers will fight those on penalties, and those with penalties will fight, because if Jack's got valid reasons to knock off a warning or 2 from his tally, that will then remove that 3 seconds, that will give him the place. So expect Jack to fight this one. If Jack's got a reason to fight this and reason to potentially take away that 3 seconds, expect him to fight Hulkenberger, fight Iron for every point he can. And you see there, straight away back in the tow, ready to receive DRS service down towards turn 9 as Ginger Tiger was, I think, having a look at J-Ray Bay, or overtook J-Ray Bay in the first part of DRS, but then got re-overtaken in the second DRS. So these two are now starting to scrap, which is going to help Hulkenberger, Jack and Iron.
Yeah, certainly, but Nitrogash is getting closed up a bit by Iron. He's still not there yet, but bit by bit he's catching him. But no, this is going to be critical. We have a race for the lead at the moment as well between J-Ray Bay and Ginger. And critically, they've stayed out again. So, are they going to try this one stop? Because surely if they pit now, they'll be too far behind to make use of a new medium. Or could they potentially be eyeing the softs?
Potentially. I mean, Hulkenberg is now past Jack as well. Didn't catch that on the stream, but Jack now 4th place. I do wonder whether those mediums might start to struggle. As Hulkenberg runs a bit wide, he's got to be careful of doing that, because that'll be a warning for track limits.
As you say that, Darryl picks up a 3-second time penalty for track limits. Yeah, I'm trying to keep an eye out. I'm sure you've got your data, Jordan, but Hulkenberg is not necessarily... He is catching the front runners by quite a good pace, but with 5 laps to go when we come around next time. Is it enough to catch Ginger and J-Ray?
Well, we'll see on this lap. I mean, last lap I think is a little bit sort of unknown because obviously the DRS assistance Hulkenberger had. Now this has got to be done on pure pace. I mean, last lap around he took 2.2 out of the front runners. We have a yellow flag. It's Darrell retiring in the pits. A big shame for Darrell at the end of the season, but his season comes to an end on lap number 24 for him. So 23 completed laps for the Haas driver. Yeah, his Grand Prix comes up 6 laps short.
So J-Ray Bay and Ginger Tiger once again stay out, and can't believe I'm saying this, Sean, but we are in the last 5 laps of the season.
Yeah, Hulkenberger this time around 1.5 taken out of J-Ray Bay. That's not enough.
It's not. He needs 2 seconds at least a lap. That was when it was 10 seconds. Now obviously the gap now 8.1. So the thing is, it's one thing to catch, it's another thing to overtake. So he needs to be there about, and then needs to overtake the two of them. The thing is, Hulkenberger's thought process here is just going to be about where is Iron, where is his contender. And at the moment, Hulkenberger's got the answer, and he's got it.
And speaking of Iron, sorry, down the inside of Nitrogash, down towards 6. The Mercedes now starting to try and pounce. Goes down the inside, and Nitro's just about sticks it along, keeps it alongside, and shuffles him wide. Well, I say wide, just closes the door on the exit. That's going to cost Iron a bit of time. But what it has done is cost Nitrogash DRS, and an easy move for Iron up into 5th place. The question now becomes, are those hard tyres starting to come into their own?
If they are, he's got to get on with it. The gap now around 4 seconds to Hulkenberger. 4 laps to go when we come around next. So it's a bit of an ask for Iron. He needs to pull out nearly a second a lap, and probably a little bit more, if he wants any chance to try and get Hulkenberger. But yeah, question is, what is Hulkenberger at the moment? How much quicker is he on this lap, Jordan?
He's crossed the line. He's come through, and he's only 9/10 quicker than his teammate. He is not going to catch the front two at the rate he's going at.
Not at all. This one stopper is looking to be the actual fastest tyre. We've seen it with Jack. He's made a whole bunch of places, and we're seeing it with Ginger and J-Ray Bay leading the field at the moment. So the one stopper is essentially, as it stands, is the better strategy. So taking the pain in the first stint massively rewards you at the end of the race.
It makes you wonder if Iron maybe thinks this is a bit of a missed opportunity. But at the time, I think he was sort of thinking, if I do the same as Hulkenberger, almost everyone's going to be on the same strategies. That way I can just stick with him. As it turns out, maybe not going with him and doing the opposite, doing something completely different would have been the better way around it. As Iron has a look down the inside of Jack, thinks better of it. Remember, Jack's got nothing to lose here. He's just looking for a good result at the end of this season.
But that's important again, into 9. Iron just, he doesn't have enough of the drive, he doesn't have enough straight line speed on that Mercedes to try and get anywhere near any driver into 9. We've seen it with J-Ray Bay, we've seen it with Hulkenberg, and we're seeing it now with Jack. He needs to get through in the head if he wants any chance in this, and at the moment it's not enough.
I think we need to keep an eye on Jack. We'll need to start getting some speed as well to try and get 3 seconds clear of Nitrogash. I think for Jack, P5 is sort of the minimum he wants out of this race. In the position he's got, if those 3 seconds are to remain on his tally, he'll definitely want to try and get enough time to beat Nitrogash come the end and just finish off with a nice top 5.
Absolutely. I'm stunned, Jordan. We've seen all this fighting for the championship, and with Jack, that we're almost forgetting about the fight for the lead of the race. Ginger Tiger, he's still within that DRS range, and he's still giving J-Ray Bay a good run for his money here, but he's just dropped off a little bit through out of 8. But no, we still could have a fight for the race win, which is incredible. But no, I think all eyes at the moment is Iron and Jack. Iron gets ahead of Jack. That is important. Now he needs to charge on and do whatever he can to close up onto Hulkenberger. The thing is, at this point in time, Hulkenberger will have a little bit more to deal with tyre management than Iron. Iron can somewhat push like hell because he's got nothing to lose at this point in time, and as well he's got those hard tyres which should have better tyre wear.
Yeah, absolutely. But the in reality, though, I mean, even that won't be enough for Iron. He needed to be up near the front of this race, and he's down in 4th. Meanwhile, the fight for the lead continues on. It's 0.5 of a second. Everyone else a little bit more spread out. Mikey maybe in a battle with Madman soon, just 0.6 behind. As Jack picks up another 3 seconds, that brings his total to 6. Excuse me. And yeah, that's going to really ruin that chance of 5th place right now if he doesn't have any warnings to get rid of.
100%. That's going to put him down in 6th, I think. He's got a bit of a gap to Klipsky, but Jack's still hanging on in DRS of Iron. So at the moment, Iron he doesn't have any answer. He doesn't have any answer to Hulkenberger, and
it must also be noted Hulkenberger's times are now starting to come in line with his teammate, who's only 0.2 quicker last time around. So I feel like Hulkenberger now is just now going to settle into his rhythm and try and finish this race in 3rd, because that will be enough to take the title.
Yeah, I think that's all he's going to care about, honestly speaking. This is the bigger picture. This is the bigger points that he needs to just do whatever he needs to do tonight as we head onto the final lap of this finale, and the final lap of the season. Gap just under 0.5 between Ginger Tiger and J-Ray Bay. So this is going to be down to the wire for the lead of this race. But we'll keep an eye out, I'm sure, with Hulkenberger and Iron. But Ginger Tiger, he takes a little bit of the wide approach. Oh, as Ginger Tiger loses the rear, nearly losing it into the wall. And that's cost him opportunity to try and win this race. And he's too far back now, but he's lucky he didn't go into the wall, Jordan.
Absolutely, and Ginger Tiger just trying to get on the power as early as possible to get a run down the back straight. Just got a bit too much on it coming out of turn 5. Luckily, he's still got a decent chunk of time back to Hulkenberger, so he can secure P2 in this race. Meanwhile, Jack is hanging on to the back of Iron for a bit of DRS. Problem is, I don't think he's quite going to get enough time over nitric ash here, and I don't think he's even going to get 3 seconds, so he may well not bother with those 6 seconds worth of time penalties just on that basis. And plus, Klipsky also has time penalties to take at the end of this race, so Stephen looking good for a top 7. But 100%. At the front, J-Ray Bay, it's a one-stop race that wins it. The Alpine wins the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix of J-Ray Bay. Ginger Tiger finishes 2nd. Hulkenberger is your Tier 2 champion as he crosses the line in 3rd place. That's enough for him. 6 points to the good against his rival of Iron, who finishes 4th overall. Nitric Ash finishes 5th. Jack in 6th. And once we've got a bit of time, Alpine take the Constructors' title by 27 points to the Mercedes. It's been a great comeback from that team this season. Klipsky finishes 7th, but that's going to become... No, it's not going to become Stephen. Stephen lost time at the end of that race. So Stephen finishes in 8th place. A bit of commentator's curse going on. Bruce should finish 9th as Madman and JMB are having a fight, but that's not really going to matter because of penalties. Bruce finishes this race in 9th place in the McLaren. Good end to him for his season. Sir Spud, he's had again a solid season in that Aston Martin. 10th place for him. Madman finishes 11th on track, but JMB Surreal will get 11th. Madman 12th. Mikey spins it on the final corner. I'm not quite sure if that's deliberate or not, as he tries to get the car going again. Don't crash into the wall. Across the line in 13th place. It's the Cat. It was an unfortunate race for him. He had that one incident right at the start, and it's just put him right at the back of the pack for the remainder of the race. But he will finish the race in 14th, with Darrell being the only retirement of this race. And that's a good clout from the Mercedes into the back of the Ferrari at the end of the Grand Prix.
Yeah, Scuderia won't be happy about that, but no. Thank you, Mikey, though, for those nice celebratory donuts at the end. Nice way to end the season, and I'm sure the Alpine drivers are going to be absolutely splendid with that, because it's a win for J-Ray Bay. It's a win for the Alpine as it stands. Of course, I don't think much will change, to be honest, from any Stewart's report. It all seemed nicely clean, but as it stands, the Alpines are your constructor stand winners, and more importantly, Hulkenberger is your driver's champion for Tier 2.
Yeah, and it's fair to say with Hulkenberger, again, obviously, we don't know what might have happened with Jolyon and Manu, if he had stayed, but that's a discussion for another time, because Hulkenberger's driven very well. He's had to come from behind, remember, against the likes of the Wolf and Iron to win this championship, and it's been a stellar drive all season. But I mean, we're going to talk a lot about Hulkenberger in terms of winning the championship, but we have to give credit here to Iron, because he's driven a fantastic season. He's just not had that last little bit when it came to the end.
Oh yeah, of course. It doesn't always go as planned, but I mean, that's the unfortunate reality in the championship. You have your winners and you have your losers, but no, it's for Iron. It's been an amazing season. I think he could say he's been up there week in, week out, fighting with the Alpines, and yeah, it's just been an amazing watch. So it's not gone his way tonight, but head up for Iron, because the pace he's shown all season has been incredibly competitive, and yeah, I'm sure he'll give it another push next season round.
Absolutely, and congratulations to everyone involved in Tier 2. I mean, it must be said, ARL, this season has been a fantastic season for Tier 2. Attendance-wise, I don't think we've ever had less than 15 in the race. Possibly Monaco, maybe the only one, potentially. But obviously, that's going back on memories that none of us have. But yeah, it's been a fantastic season, Tier 2. Fantastic to watch, commentate on, and as I say, fantastic to see the numbers all the way throughout this season.
100%, absolutely. I don't think I have much more to add on. It's yeah. I mean, as usual, I've always been driving, but to be able to fully commentate on a full season, it's been an absolute pleasure. Of course, alongside yourself, Jordan. So yeah, no, it's been an incredible watch, so entertaining, the drama, and having a championship fight that goes all the way to the end with incredible numbers. I don't even think we had any race less than 15, including Monaco. So yeah, no, it's just been a pleasure to watch, and yeah, no, I just can't believe where the time's gone, in all honesty. But no, yeah, thank you everyone for joining us throughout the season, because it's been incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think as commentators, we have to thank all of the drivers. I mean, we get quite a lot of thanks for streaming this, but I think the drivers making it what it is, I mean, we have to thank them for turning up week in, week out, and obviously then watching the streams afterwards and enjoying that element. But just obviously having those numbers, turning up, giving us something to talk complete and utter rubbish over. That it's obviously makes our job a lot easier as commentators when there is those sorts of numbers with big battles on. So, a massive round of applause to the IRL Tier 2 division, also the admin team, for putting it on and getting it to where we are today, which is fantastic considering where we were sort of 6-7 months ago. For IRL, it's been a fantastic little turnaround, and I think, Arrow, the one thing that we have to say is season 22 can't come soon enough, because it's gonna be, I think, even better.
Yeah, no, 100%, 100%. Yeah, it's like you said, it's not just us. It's been like a community here in Invictus. Without the drivers showing up, providing some amazing action, I think our job would be a lot more difficult. But no, it's a whole great community that we have here. The drivers, of course, the teams, the stewards. It goes down all the way to the very bare bone of what Invictus Racing League here it has. And I think this has really helped and boost the morale of the community. So I think it's just incredible for what it's offered, and I think, like you said, the next season couldn't come soon enough, because it's just incredible. I think everyone everyone wants it to come immediately. I'm sure for the likes of Hulkenberg, he wants to enjoy this. I'm sure, but yeah, no, it's it's been just amazing. So no, congrats to everyone, the drivers and all the staff here. So yeah, thank you for making it happen.
And from our side, obviously, that's all we have time for. But if you have enjoyed the racing, not just tonight but this season, make sure you send put a like on the stream and make sure you subscribe to the Invictus Racing League YouTube channel. We do commentate and live stream every single race in the community at the moment, which is fantastic to have, and obviously is a fantastic resource to have these streams every single week. And if you did enjoy it and want to get involved, especially for season 22, which will probably now be sort of next season, but I do know some insider information that there are plans going ahead for something in between season 21 and season 22, which is, I think, going to be quite enjoyable, I think. So if you want to get involved in that, get yourself over to the Discord of Invictus Racing League, or even over to the Facebook page, and get in contact and join the community and sort of get involved. I mean, as we say, the more the merrier. You can never have too many drivers, in my opinion, for a championship. But for myself and ARL, thank you to all the drivers this season for putting on an absolute cracker of a show. Thank you to everyone for watching all the streams this season. This is the final time for Tier 2 stream-wise. It's not for Tier 1. Tier 1 does have one more stream next week, as their championship gets decided at Australia on a sprint evening after technical difficulties earlier this season forced a postponement for them. So make sure you tune in next week on Monday. That's Jack and Mikey on the comms from 8 o'clock for Tier 1. But from us, for the final time in Season 21, thank you all for watching. We hope you have a good rest of your week, and we look forward to seeing you for future IRL streams. And keep an eye out for future announcements for what's coming up next in the IRL calendar for 2025. For now, goodbye.